My name is Sarah, and I am 30 years old. I have a 10-year-old son named Jake from my first marriage. I am now married for the second time. My husband's name is John, and he is 38 years old. Together, we have a 1-year-old baby. We live in a small town where life is peaceful but sometimes complicated. I met John 6 years ago when I was 24 and he was 32. We first connected by phone. I liked his voice, his way of speaking, and how kind he sounded. We talked on the phone for many weeks before we met in person. During those phone calls, I started to feel something for him. When we finally met face to face, we were both very happy. It felt like we had known each other for a long time. We began dating immediately. John had never been married before, and he didn't have any children. On the other hand, I had already gone through one marriage that didn't work out, and I had my son Jake. But even with my past, I felt good with John. He made me laugh, he listened to me, and he made me feel special again. As we got closer, John started to tell me about his past. He said that before me, he had lived with a woman for 4 years. They were never married, but they were together like a couple. Eventually, he left her. He also shared a story about his first love. He said he had loved a girl when he was very young, only 16 or 17 years old. She was his first real love. He told me they had a strong bond, and he cared for her deeply. But when he went to join the army, she didn't wait for him. She moved on and left him. That broke his heart. He said he was very sad at that time, and his mother later told me that he never really stopped thinking about her. This made me curious about this girl. I wanted to know more, but I didn't want to upset him. I didn't want to bring up the past too much. I just wanted to focus on our future together and on building a happy life with him and our children. One day, John invited me and Jake to visit his apartment. I was excited. I wanted to see where he lived before we moved in together. But when I walked into his place, I was shocked. The apartment was very old. It looked like it hadn't been cleaned or repaired in years. The furniture was worn out. The walls needed paint, and everything looked neglected. I asked him, "Why is your apartment like this? Don't you work?" He didn't really answer. He just said that he had lived with his parents for many years and never had time to fix the place. Later, I spoke to John's mother, and she told me that for many years, John used to sit in the park with his friends drinking beer. He spent most of his free time that way. She also mentioned that different women used to come to his apartment, but they never stayed. They were only there for one night. I was surprised to hear this, because John never told me anything about that. It made me wonder what kind of life he had before me. One day, I found out that John still kept a card from his first girlfriend, the same girl he had loved when he was 17. She had given him the card when he left for the army. He kept it all these years as a memory. That made me feel strange. I didn't understand why he would still keep something from someone who left him so long ago. I began to feel a little insecure. I started thinking that maybe he still had feelings for her. On New Year's Eve, John and I decided to go to the city center with Jake to enjoy the lights and the holiday atmosphere. Everything was going well until John suddenly stopped walking and looked across the street. He slowly walked away from me and Jake and stood far from us. I didn't know what was happening. I turned to see what he was looking at, and then I saw her. It was the girl from his past, his first love. She was with her husband. John just stood there watching her. He didn't speak to her, but he also didn't speak to me. He looked sad, lost in his thoughts. I felt something break inside me. Why was he standing there, looking at her like that? Why was he so quiet all of a sudden? After a while, I asked him, "Do you still love her? Do you think about her often?" But John got angry. He said, "You are imagining things. You're not thinking straight." I didn't know what to believe. Sometimes it really felt like he missed her. He even talked to her brother and asked about her life, where she lived, where she worked, and who she was with. This made me more upset. Why did he care so much about her? What did she mean to him now? I didn't understand. And it wasn't just him. His mother often talked about that girl too. She said John was never the same after she left. Every time she said this, it hurt me. It made me feel like I wasn't enough, like I was just someone he settled for. After losing the girl he truly loved, I started to feel lonely. I wanted John to focus on me, on our children, on our future, but it felt like his heart was stuck in the past. He became distant. He didn't talk to me much. He didn't smile the way he used to. I kept wondering if he was still thinking about her. I wanted to believe he loved me, but his actions didn't show it. I asked him again, "John, do you still love her?" He replied, "You are imagining things again." But I wasn't sure. I really wasn't. I could feel it. He was hiding something from me. He didn't treat me the way he used to. I remembered how happy we were in the beginning, how he used to hold my hand, talk to me for hours, and look at me like I was the only one in the world. But now it was different. Now it felt like he had drifted far away. He was there with me, but his heart was somewhere else. I thought about everything, about my life, my choices, my son, and our baby. I loved John, but I didn't feel loved in return. I felt like I was always second in his heart. Maybe he would never stop thinking about his first love. Maybe he would never love me the same way he loved her. After many sleepless nights, I decided to talk to John seriously one last time. I sat him down and asked, "Do you want to stay with me, or do you want to go back to her?" He looked shocked. He said, "What do you mean? I love you." But I didn't believe him anymore. I couldn't feel his love. I couldn't see it in his eyes or hear it in his voice. I told him that I couldn't live like this anymore. I couldn't stay with a man who made me feel like I was not enough. I needed someone who truly loved me, someone who made me feel important every day, not someone who was still holding on to a memory from the past. It was a hard decision, but I knew it was the right one. I told John I was leaving. I told him I needed peace, love, and respect. I needed to raise my children in a home filled with love, not doubts. I needed to move on, not just for me, but for my son and for the baby. I wanted to build a new life, one where I wasn't living in the shadow of another woman. John didn't try to stop me. He just sat there quietly. Maybe he knew that I was right. Maybe he also knew that he had never truly let go of his first love. I walked away with a heavy heart, but also with strength. I knew I had done the right thing. I chose myself. I chose to stop living in sadness and to start a new chapter. I hope one day John finds peace, and I hope one day I find someone who will love me with all their heart. And only me.